Ladies and gentlemen.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Well, happy hump day, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube. This is the Early Bird Special. I'm Chris Burdick. That's Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Wednesday.
Yes, it is.
It's hump day, baby.
Almost there.
Almost there. We're dang near there. Let them know what they're in for, though. It's a basketball and football packed show today.
Yes. The OKC Thunder locked in another one of their stars. We'll get into that. Plus, AD had surgery. What kind of return is he looking at? Joker is, we have some contract talks we'll get into. Then we'll get joined by the guys from Rise Up Athlete ahead of their flag football tournament. The WNBA All-Star Draft happened. Then we'll get into some wild NFL and some stadium talk, financial side of some of these contracts, and much more. Another player was added to the home run derby, and it looks like they're just making it every day. Just release one player.
Honestly,
one player.
Hey, hear me out on this, though. Is this the worst way to go about it?
Yes.
I don't know if it is.
I think it is.
I was thinking about this last night because I'm glad you brought that up, because I think this is kind of a neat way to tee up for the home run derby. You get us a little more excited with every pick. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with Ortiz jumping in this. That's a good name to jump in this, although he's a Pittsburgh Pirate. It is what it is. But still got 3 more spots to fill up. And honestly, if you gave us one on Thursday, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, I'd be happy with that.
But we'll get into that and much more. Feel free to text or call in anytime at 661-842-2000.
Absolutely. Let's start with the contract talks, though, because we had a major story break right before the show. Chet Holmgren, the sloth for the Oklahoma City Thunder, will be staying with Oklahoma City for the foreseeable future as he signs an extension to his rookie deal that could reach up to $250 million over 5 years. Great addition for the team. Obviously, if you're the Thunder, you want to keep this core together for as long as humanly possible. Jalen Williams, still in contract talks, has not signed his yet. But I'm going to leave this up to you, Sparky, and our listeners, if you want to text in 661-842-2000. I think Chet was probably the one that was going to get the least amount of money. Not that Chet Holmgren is any less valuable to the team, but more, I think Jalen is definitely the number 2 on this team. So he's going to get a little bit more money than Chet does. With Chet set at essentially $50 million a year, and then Shea set at now 71.5 as the highest paid player in all of sports right now. Where do you see Jalen falling in between that? Is he going to be in the 50s, in the 60s? Personally, I think 55 mil a year probably is a fair number for Jalen. But what say you, my friend?
I was thinking about 60, but
60?
I mean, how much money do they have?
That's exactly what I'm thinking. That's a lot of money.
You signing
It's
3
a lot
players
of money
for $1 billion.
Eh.
I mean, how much money do you have left?
Look, brother, we were talking about this. I mean, we can get into it about the Cooper Flag and Bronny ticket situation as well.
Jeez,
I mean, if Cooper Flag reaches the heights we believe he is going to, and he gets these max contract deals that all these guys are getting, he can accumulate over $1 billion in his career, realistically, because he could have 2 max contracts in his career before he actually retires. So is it really far-fetched that these guys are making this much money now? Sports have been a growing industry every single year, no matter how much we hate on their viewership or the product that's been bringing out. Everybody still pays into it. So it doesn't really surprise me.
Even with the viewership that was down most of the playoffs, I mean, I would think they probably get a nice chunk of the betting and other things. But, I mean, that is a lot of money for 2 players.
That's why I'm saying I think you keep Jalen somewhere in the maybe mid to low 50 range, kind of where Chet is, but a little bit more than Chet Holmgren.
Do you think that with Chet and SGA signed, he now has the control of being like, hey, you got to pay me more than Chet?
Not necessarily, because really they don't have to pay him at all this year. He still has a year left on this contract that he signed, I believe. And I think he has a player option after that as well. So they could get the deal done anytime between the next year and a half, 2 years. And honestly, I don't think they're really in a hurry to do so. Let's see how these contracts work out with these two first, and then maybe figure it out. If you can figure it out before the season starts, which everybody expects it to happen, wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Yeah, it'd be ideal.
It would be ideal, yes. But I also don't think you're really in that much of a hurry to get it done right now.
Everyone's happy.
Everybody,
in
yeah, if
OKC right
everybody's
now.
happy, we're all good. Now, if Jalen wants to be paid, cool, we'll get it done. I know
He'll
a
get
lot of these
paid.
players don't like playing on their last year of their contract or a 1-year contract. Totally understand that. Although that's usually when we get the best out of you, to be completely
When
honest.
you're playing for the money.
Yeah, when you're playing for that contract. So
And then usually when they get paid, they take that step back.
I mean, we talked about that yesterday, but I have to agree, and that's why I'm saying that, like, maybe if Jalen's happy, we're not really in any hurry right now. I mean, Chet needed to get his done. Shea needed to get his done. Jalen also needs to get his done and will get his done, but that's a lot of money to be throwing around right now. Maybe they have to avoid some aprons and stuff like that to avoid some salary tax luxuries and whatnot. And I'm just not sure exactly how quick they're looking to actually sign him. I expect it to happen before the season, though.
Yeah.
Everything
He's
that
set
I've
to make
read,
4.7 million this year.
yeah.
I was
So,
like,
and when he sees Chet and Shea making 50 and 70,
70.
yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a discrepancy there.
Yeah, pay me.
So I would expect him to get paid before the season starts. Although, again, team smart idea, probably.
Well, it's something we
Let's
talked
take-
about before free agency started is, with the big names being, Durant and now Dame and other players and, to keep that core together. And it seems like that's the plan.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, other teams are building around themselves to try to actually compete with these guys. So I think that you have to keep them together because you are now the formula. You're the championship formula for everybody else. And from what we hear, Bradley Beal probably on his way to the Clippers to join what would honestly be a very scary starting five now. If you sit and look at it, James Harden at the 1, Beal will be at the 2, Kawhi at the 3, John Collins coming in to play the 4, and you got Zubac at the 5. That is a very formidable starting 5 in the NBA for a Clippers team that honestly probably could be a contender next year.
Yeah, and I heard this morning that they're trying to get that lockout done or that payout done by today so they can move on. And we talked earlier in the week about Lakers and Warriors and Bucks, but I can see the Clippers being a perfect fit, a reunion for himself. So
everything I read yesterday claims that Bradley Beal is headed towards the Clippers if he does get bought out by the Suns.
Going off what you just said, do you think that makes them more of a serious contender?
I think they were already a contender. They just had to figure out their playoff woes. And honestly, I'm not sure if that's even a fair statement because they just went up against a better team. I mean, you had to take on the Nuggets. So, I mean, it's a really hard thing to take on a former champion and a team that pushed the champion to 7 games. So obviously they put up as much of a fight as they could. With this addition and John Collins coming in, I definitely think that pushes them over the top to beat a team like Denver and all of those. Now, can they put up against maybe the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Thunder? We'll see. I think that this is the best step forward for you. And I think for Bradley Beal's sake, to revive your career and honestly get you back in that range of a well-known scorer at the shooting guard position, at least, I think a step towards the Clippers would be a really good one for you. And honestly, it would make you probably the more dangerous team in LA. Sorry, Laker fans. But if you really look at it on paper, their starting 5, wow. Like it's going to be really hard to compete against that, especially when you have to find pieces that actually want to stay there. Because if Austin Reeves really doesn't want to stay there, as we've said the last couple of days, what's going to go on there? How are you going to either convince him to stay and make this chemistry between him and Luka work, or gain some pieces around or by moving on from him? Because that's how the Lakers work. They don't really develop players. A lot of players have actually come out and said that lately. I know Lou Williams said it in an interview recently. It's more about picking up players that can help you win a championship, not necessarily developing what you have in the growing area. So I don't know exactly where they move, but the Clippers could be a very, very formidable team next year And if you're a Laker fan, that's going to be really weird for you because you've been baby brothering this team for years.
And then Sportsman was talking about the Lakers and developing players, and they said the same thing as
They
the
don't.
Lakers aren't the developing type team. And they even had to bash Bronny on last night's performance, which it's the summer league, and that's what they're doing. They're growing. But when the guy put up 2 points in the game, but going back to what you were saying with the prices and the NBA revenue, I mean, if you didn't see this story yesterday, so we've been talking about the Cooper Flag, debut summer league game, and they're playing the Lakers tomorrow, and the courtside seats are going up as much as $2,500 for a summer league game.
I get that. I totally understand. But courtside seats in general usually are going to go pretty high. I kind of agree with you though. Summer league, that's pretty excessive. Do we know what they usually are though? Are they usually in the
I think
grand
it's
area?
around $1,000, yeah.
So
I mean, I've been courtside to an exhibition game when the Lakers came here,
oh yeah,
and we paid I think 400, but it was an exhibition game. But we were there to see Kobe,
right, naturally.
obviously.
I
And I can understand it's a big game. It's Cooper Flag's debut, and and it just happened to be up against the Lakers and Bronny. So
and
I mean,
honestly,
if
again,
you can make it, if they could sell them, then sell them.
this is obviously one of the only times you're going to see Cooper too in summer league. I'm sorry, you're
Yeah.
not going to see him very much.
Coach mentioned he's only going to play a couple games
Yeah,
here and there.
maybe 3. That's just how it works. Like, I don't expect to see VJ Edgecombe all summer league either. Ace Bailey most likely will not play all summer league. The list goes on. Dylan Harper. I mean, all these guys are good. They just need you. They need them to play a handful of games to get them ready for the NBA, just speed of the game. And all of these guys are young. So you need to actually see what they look like in front of NBA players, even though most of these guys obviously don't make the roster. It's just a good way to actually gauge where they are. And you're not going to see Cooper Flag more than 3 games. So I kind of understand why ticket prices are that high. But if people are willing to pay 25
I was
or
going to say if they're willing to pay it.
which people are willing to pay $2,500 to go watch a basketball game. So
And I was reading off the air. I mean, I'm a card collector. Growing up in the '80s, we had baseball, football, basketball cards, and I remember my dad pulling a Michael Jordan rookie card, a Fleer card, and he put it in a 10-pound collector, glass holder. And I saw the auction coming up this week for a Jordan rookie card, which a couple years ago, I believe it was in 2022, they were around $350,000-$400,000. This one's selling for $800,000 for one basketball card. It's just insane.
it is.
But I know you had some other stuff with with basketball, and we talked a little bit about the Nuggets. So we'll take our first break, and we'll get into this Joker talk. And I want to see what you think of maybe holding off a year and maybe seeing what they're doing with the team, or is this more of a kind of holdout type thing? We'll get into that and much more. Feel free to text in 661-842-2000. This is the Early Bird Special.
Welcome back. This is the early bird special. That Spark tries to wake you up on this Wednesday. We gotta talk about these tickets a little bit more though, because looking into it, like looks like they're for the day, right? That's what we
Yeah.
figured out. Like that's actually a well, I mean, I've paid pretty ridiculous amounts of money for music concerts, so
Festivals that are all day. I paid
I'm
$800-900.
so if I'm paying for a game, like I get it. Like if it's a one game thing, no, I'm out.
No.
No way in hell. But if it's all day, you might get me on that one. Especially if it's like 500, $600 a piece. I'd do it. I'd do it.
Maybe if we got discount on the hotel or something, make a
Yeah.
package.
Because I'm also looking at Vivid Seats here. I know that you looked up on some other
Thomas and Mac.
but I'm seeing some here for like $800 too, but they're not courtside. Like I'm seeing here, averages of courtside are upwards of in the thousands. So ridiculous amounts of money, I realize. But again, if people are willing to pay it, you're in Vegas anyway, so you're looking to spend money or blow money. So why not blow it on some sports? I mean,
Yeah.
because I'm gonna tell you right now, the people that are courtside at a summer league game are usually the ones at the sports books right before.
Yeah, that are committed either something to
Exactly.
do with the league, betting, or
You live
referees.
there and you got
Exactly.
given tickets by
Like
the
press
hotel.
passes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So I don't like the stories of them being upwards of $2,500 for the Lakers Mavericks game doesn't surprise me. It's probably traditional, really, especially for a Lakers game courtside. I would assume is somewhere in the thousands upon tens of
Dude,
thousands.
there's like
of
8 to
dollars.
12,000
Yeah.
for Laker games,
So
and that doubled when LeBron came.
yeah, no,
Because
it
I
doesn't
used to
surprise me.
take my son out to when the Bulls would come to town. I would take him out, and we'd get the tickets in the suites
Mhm.
because it was so cheap. I was like, cool. It was like a couple $100. We could have the suite to ourselves,
Right.
and I could watch my Bulls, wear my Bulls gear, and have no issues. But $2,500, I mean that is
Yeah, now we're in
that's
the
pricey.
range of I can't afford that. So
But speaking of money, what do you think about this Joker deal? He's not going to do the extension this year, which
look, man,
when he's one of the best players in the sport, do you think that's something to be worried about, or is that just something
No.
that his financial advisor is telling him, hey, just hold off?
I think it's the financial advisor telling him to, hey, just hold off for a little bit. Because again, I said it the other day, and I'm happy that I'm not the only one that's seeing it. Other media sources are seeing it as well. I think Joker's getting tired of playing basketball.
Really?
I think he's like, don't get me wrong. I think he loves the game of basketball. The entire country of Serbia loves the game of basketball. But I think that he's starting to get to that point too, where he's like,
The grind just
I'm
getting
just
to him.
over it. Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe. I don't know. Again,
I mean, even when he won the finals that year, he was talking about, dude, I don't want to do these interviews. I don't want to go to the parade.
Maybe he's looking for a location that's a little more lax for him.
Getting closer to his horses, and
I guess.
his
I'm not going to
farm.
say he retires. I don't know exactly where he goes with it, but I think there is a level here where he's just getting tired of playing basketball. You can always reignite that love in basketball by moving him to a different city and having them do it or something of that nature. Don't get me wrong. But I'd feel like one, kind of like the Jalen Williams situation, he has a year left on the contract and a player option. So they have 2 years to get this done. He's not in any hurry to get it done.
And that player option's worth $77 million.
Yes. And like that's why I'm like, there are two sides of my brain here that are like, one of them is saying player side, which is maybe he's just saying, I'm just in no hurry, and I would rather you use that money to go get me some help because obviously we need some help. Or he's on the side of, I don't even know if I want to play in 2-3 years. You know what I'm saying?
That would be crazy.
and
That's what my question was. I mean, if you're a Nuggets fan, are you worried about it? And if you are a Nuggets fan, let me know, because I don't think I've ever met a Nuggets fan. But feel free to text if you're a basketball fan. Just let us know what do you think? Is Burdick right? I mean, because I've seen
Probably
that
not.
in his personality that he's kind of.
But that could just be his personality.
It could be too.
To be honest with you,
He's
that
like
could like
Gunther
everything
type.
we have seen. Yeah, he's just nonchalant, no nonsense. Like everybody that I've heard on interviews that talks about the guy loves him, says he's a great person to be around in the locker room. He's only 30 years old. So I could be way off base. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying that he wants to retire. Calm down. I'm just saying that he may be getting bored of the basketball that he's playing, or just bored of basketball in general, and just meh. Because that's what I see on at least a personal level. Outside of that, he's a fantastic basketball player, will continue to be a fantastic basketball player, be a triple-double machine for whoever he plays for. I just think he's kind of getting tired of maybe Denver basketball. I don't know if he just wants to maybe find a place that's a little bit easier for him, or like he enjoys playing there. But I think that that's up in the air. And I also think there's the other side of this, which is he's just probably not in any hurry to get it done.
Yeah, he's money. Like,
Yeah, he's like, I'd rather you go use that money right now to go get me and Jamal help so we can get back to the finals.
I'm like, dude,
because
I can
the
get
West
77
is-
million on my option.
Yeah, the
What's
West
the
is
rush?
loaded. And this dude doesn't seem like a guy who really needs a ton of money. Like, he really doesn't live lavishly, I don't think.
He's
in
got his
Serbia.
farm.
So he just, I don't think it's that much of a priority to him. I really don't. I don't think it's that. It's either, like I said, it's not a priority to him to get the deal done, or he's just tired of Denver basketball. And he doesn't know if he wants to be there. And that's
Man,
where
you know, that would hurt that whole
would
team
kill
and
that
city.
franchise.
But some other NBA news: Dallas Mavericks All-Star AD recently underwent surgery to repair a detached retina suffered during the season last year, and he's expected to carry a major load for Dallas in his first full season out there.
Mm.
And I mean, it's probably a good time to do it in the offseason early, but he is expecting to be back.
Okay. Can I? This reminds me of Jameis Winston. Okay, when he went and got the LASIK surgery. If you knew you had a problem with your eyes, get it fixed. Stop playing whatever you're playing. I don't understand how athletes could sit there and say, I can play one-eyed. No, stop. What detached retina? You played with a detached retina. Go get that fixed, dude. Why are we waiting on that? There's no way you could shoot a basket with a detached retina.
Yeah, I would have had the appointment set the day after the season ended.
It's like, unless I am way off base and someone can text it and tell me how it actually is with a detached retina. But I would assume your inability to see a basket well would alter your shot. Go get that fixed. Just like a quarterback who doesn't have very good eyesight. Are you kidding?
That's these crazy injuries that come out after the season's over, and they're like, well, I played with a broken leg half the season. I'm like, what?
That's what I'm saying. Go get it fixed. I understand that you have to play for your team and stuff like that, but certain injuries, you cannot play with those. Like, I agree with you. When we hear that this guy played with a fractured shoulder or a broken leg or something like that, and he just played on it, what are you doing? Go get that fixed. No, you are not helping anybody in that instance. It's like, I don't care what people say, and they're like, no, they need to play on that. No, you do not.
You think
detached retinas in that area too.
Do you think that trade to a new team he just wanted to try to finish as much as he could for the new team?
Maybe
before.
I think also Anthony's probably just tired of the moniker of being street clothes because he's always injured. But I'm sorry, dude, if you're injury prone, you're injury prone. There's not much we can do about it. I mean, it's just how your body is. And you healthy is a very good basketball player. I realize Anthony Davis at 80% is still better than probably 70% of the league. But if you want a championship and you're in Dallas, you need AD at 100%. You need AD from the Pelicans. You need AD back in New Orleans, not the AD you've been getting with the Lakers. And I get that you're tired of being known as the injury-prone guy, but you having a detached retina and not getting that figured out, right? That just doesn't make sense.
Especially with all the big moves this team has done so far to build a competitive team this year. So hopefully he can. It's a quick surgery. I don't know anything about eye surgery or retinas
how that works. That's what I'm saying. If anybody knows, please text in and help us, because we are two doofuses on the radio and we do not, we're not doctors here. No. But I get not wanting to be the moniker of being the injury prone guy, but get it fixed, dude. Like that's one of those injuries that you can't really just say, I can play on this. And if you tried to play on it, I commend you for your ability to at least try and, get through these things. but there ain't no way that didn't alter your shot, your game. Ain't no way. Like you essentially, if I'm thinking of it the way I'm thinking of it, you're essentially playing one-eyed. Like you really are. So I'm like, I don't know how you could do that, but go for it, brother. I guess.
Yeah, it's like what was it? JPP played with one hand.
Well,
Well, that's way different
that's way
than
different.
shooting
He
in
had a club
basketball.
afterwards.
Yes.
Like
I mean, what are you going to play with the patch?
exactly. Like
Oh, I can see that.
I could see that too.
The
But again,
unibrow with the patch.
all right. Well, he got rid of the unibrow. I'm pretty
He
sure.
needs to grow that back.
I just I that's one of those things. I completely understand when athletes want to play through injuries, and I
Yeah.
commend them for doing so. But there are a handful that I'm just like, you tried to play through what? Like, I don't understand how anybody could sit there and say, oh yeah, I tried to play through a detached retina, broken this, fractured that, blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, like pulled muscles, all that type of stuff. Okay, whatever. If you want to live through that pain for the rest of your life, go for it. I've seen wrestlers do it all the time, but it just bugs me when you hear the stories like you're talking about, like, oh yeah, this guy played with a broken leg throughout half his season. Why?
Yeah. Why?
What were you playing? And you didn't win anything, right?
Exactly. I could get it if you were, in the finals or, just pushing it. But we just saw the backlash of that with Tyrese.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, dude, I get it. I get wanting to play on injuries. I do. But the risks and all that type of stuff. I get it. But some of these, I'm just like, dude, that's dumb. That's just dumb. If you knew you had a detached retina or something wrong with your eyes, get that fixed. There ain't no sport on the planet you can play one-eyed, my brother. Not one. I'm sorry. Well, I guess you could probably find a handful, but
Let me see.
I guess croquet or something of that nature. I don't know, but
Axe
it's definitely
throwing.
not basketball.
No, no. But we'll take a break. We'll get into some WNBA news, and we'll read your text regarding the NBA. Plus, if you think you can cut it in flag football, and I text a few of our friends over here at the radio station just to see if anybody would bite. But we've got a couple guys coming in from Rise Up Athletes, as they have an adult co-ed flag football league coming up. You'll hear more about that at 8 o'clock right here on the Early Bird Special on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM.
You see it?
I did not. Well, what?
Jack Black doing the Mr. Crowley for the Aussie final show.
I just realized it.
Yeah, he killed it, dude.
Oh, that's awesome. No, the one I keep seeing is Youngblood or something like
Uh-huh.
that doing changes, which was fantastic as well.
Who was Youngblood?
He's
I
a
keep seeing him pop up everywhere.
he's like a punk rock guy.
Okay.
I think I really don't know. I don't know a whole ton about him. I know he did a short stint of rock music. He's been around the Osborne family now for a while. So I
Yeah, I
really,
saw a video during he gave all these some special gift
yeah,
at
and
the
he's
end.
like, well, everybody kind of sees him as the heir apparent to Ozzy if Black Sabbath ever continued, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But this guy does have a very good voice and is just, I don't know, he's left a very, very big impression on Ozzy. So maybe that's why. But I just realized that was Jack. I did not see that at all.
I
I'm not gonna
somebody
lie to you.
sent it to me after the show yesterday, and I watched the full video. And
I
everyone knows
love
he's got talent,
Oh, dude.
but he took it. He said he took it super serious because he grew up as a big Sabbath
Yeah.
fan. So when he had the opportunity to sing for Ozzy, I mean, he had the whole Ozzy shirt with the highlighters, and I mean, he killed it.
Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny is still one of the
Yes.
greatest movies. I mean, it's awful. Don't get me wrong.
Yes, it is
It's
very awful,
terrible,
but it is
but
good.
it's so good. And honestly, Jack Black is an American treasure. I will die on this. I will die on this hill. I don't care what bald white men across the hall say. That man is an American treasure, and he is. We need to protect him at all costs.
Well, before we get into the WNBA All-Star Draft, and Angel was back in the media yesterday. Well, we had a text regarding the Joker deal. It says, I wouldn't doubt if he is ready to hang it up after that deal. If Denver doesn't get him some more talent, I'm already seeing the rumors of him switching and going over to the Lakers after LeBron retires and playing with Luka.
Honestly, that has been something that's been up in the air as well, and I think that is a very big possibility, to be honest with you. If the Lakers can somehow talk the Denver Nuggets into letting him go or trading him to the Lakers for some draft capital, I have no idea how you would get a deal like that done. It is not going to happen for at least a year or two, so we don't have to worry about it at all. But I just there is something about this situation, to me at least, that screams I'm just tired of basketball, or at least Denver basketball. And I don't mean that in a sense he's tired of Denver. He probably loves the city. He probably loves playing for Denver. But sometimes when you try and try and try with a team and it just doesn't work for you, look at Giannis with the Bucks, and especially after just tasting the championship and finally getting gold and thinking, oh, we should be able to do this year in and year out. I think the Thunder are going to learn of this next year, unfortunately. But it's a rough go when you can't get back there, and it kind of sours your entire experience of the place. So I think it might just be at that point where either he's tired of playing in Denver or just might just be tired of playing basketball altogether. I don't know. There's something in my mind that is telling me it's going to head that way, especially when he's staring 33, 34 in the mug. You know what I mean? So it really just depends on how he feels at that point. And that's also why I feel like it could just be he's in no hurry to get the deal done because
I
he
mean,
doesn't
can
know
you
how he's
imagine
going to
though
feel.
if he did? I mean, with the new ownership and being able to pull Joker and Luca. I mean, talk about ticket prices. Whew.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's very true too. But we have to see how they would actually mesh as well and how their games would balance off each other. So it would be a very interesting sight, though, to see the Los Angeles Lakers led by two foreign basketball players. Because I have to get to this before we jump over to the WNBA, since we glanced over it and glossed over it when we were talking about the Thunder earlier. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been named the NBA 2K26 cover athlete. Congratulations. However, I have to again throw this out there, and I think me and you were on the same page before the show, Spark. But do we need any more proof that this guy is the perfect face of the NBA yet? Like, do we need anything else? Guy is a champion, MVP of his team, finals MVP, was arguably the most watched and probably liked player this year out of everybody, and is now the cover athlete of everybody's favorite basketball game. Where's the flaw?
Yeah, it's
He's
already there.
squeaky clean off the court. Has a family. He's a family man. People love that. He has a baby that people love seeing videos of. It's been all over the place since the championship. How are we not on board with this, America? Why can we not get behind a foreign basketball player? I get he's Canadian. He's from America's wacky hat. But let it happen, man. This guy's great. I feel like we should focus on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being the new face of the NBA. What say you?
I've been saying it. I don't see the difference. I mean, I don't have a problem. I think the best basketball players, I don't care where they're born, as long as they bring their talent and they prove it. I think SGA's pretty much started a nice resume of being the next face of the NBA. I don't see any. I mean, we went through this during the playoffs. I mean, there is a handful of other players that could be, in the running, but I think SGA is a perfect fit. And just like you'd said, he's a clean cut, no
No off the
speeding
field or off the
or
court antics.
exactly. So I don't see the problem.
Somebody that was cast away by the team that he originally played for and has been sent around a couple times, finally emerges in a franchise that desperately needed somebody to be that guy. I love his story. I really do. And personally, I think stories are exactly what the NBA needs to get people's attention back on the NBA. And you have a potential big story here, especially if you want to do the parallels between his potential rivals in the West, ergo Anthony Edwards, who you could have like the good guy, bad guy thing going there. You really could if you wanted to. You got Zion, probably, if he could ever figure it out in the West, could be a really good one. Luka, if all of this weight loss and conditioning this offseason really pays off, the Lakers could be a really formidable team next year. I think that it could be a really cool story to build around of the new face of the NBA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, now has to face and ward off the stronger side of the NBA, arguably, because the West is way deeper than the East. And all of these faces that he's going to have to go down to beat. And we talked about it before while the playoffs were going. Who did Anthony Edwards have to beat to really be the face of the league? Did he have to beat Steph Curry? Did he have to beat Jokic? Did he have to beat all of these teams to one up them to be the new face of the league? Shai's already done it.
Yep.
So
check.
Again, where are the arguments against this? I just don't understand why we can't get behind this. Text in 661-842-2000. Do you get behind Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the new face of the NBA? And if you don't, give us a reason why. Why do you not like him? Or do you have anybody that you feel should be the next face of the NBA instead of SGA? Personally, I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. 100%.
Especially with this decision.
And if you want to play some flag football, hit us up too, because I'm looking to fill my roster.
We have a whole team?
No, we have one.
Oh, okay.
I hit up my boy KP, a big offensive lineman that played with Carr out over at Stockdale. I hit up our boy Randizzle, and they all said, only thing you're going to get me is pulling hammies.
See, like, that's what I'm
saying.
You
got two of them, so let's go.
I mean, you're pulling people out of retirement.
Yeah, let's do it.
Good Lord. How many people do we need to fill a team?
We'll find out.
We got T-shirts. We can make it happen.
We'll find out.
We can make it happen.
Why wouldn't we have an early bird special team?
Oh, my Lord. Now you're getting the wheels turning.
Well, we got to get going because they're filling up. Well, we'll hear more about that and much more right here on the early bird special.
really dark jokes done. I'm
That's all
not
I
even
have.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
Courtney Love's birthday today, but I was not going to
No,
play Super Bowl.
please, no. I mean, again, I'll take Nirvana any day of the week, but happy birthday.
I
Good
did
for you.
like her in the Larry Flint movie. She was a pretty good actress in that, but that's where
The long
draw
and
the
short
line.
of it. Yeah, I mean, I can't. Meh. I really didn't care for her music that much.
No.
So I'm not much of a fan of her as an actress either.
You
But
just don't like her.
I mean, she just doesn't come off as a likable person to me. She really doesn't. Like I look at her and just like, I know I won't like you. I don't know what it is. I know I don't like you.
Well, before we get into the WNBA All-Star Draft or whatever they call it, did you see the video of Angel throwing another fit yesterday?
No. To
Well,
be
she
honest with
was
you, no.
they went to a timeout and she was throwing her hands up like she does and slapped the clipboard out of her coach's hand and was just
On purpose or is
yeah,
this a mistake? Oh,
it looked like it anyways. She was just throwing a fit and
oh, good
I
lord.
love Angel and it seems the more of the Rodman Angel type. I think that's probably why I like her because Rodman was one of my favorites growing up, and she's got to work on her one handles, and she's got to work on her shot,
She's got to work on her
and
game
some
in
layup
general, my
drills.
friend. You got to get some offense in this team. I mean, again, I love clowning on her much like everybody else does because it's just fun. But
Haters,
again,
haters.
true, 100%. I will not
Full of hate
deny.
this morning, Burdick.
You know what?
Courtney Love, Angel Reese.
I'm trying not to hate on people. I do not do that for a living, but it is just it's hard to. Oh wow, no, you're not kidding. I sorry, I was trying to find the video so I could actually see for myself, but she clearly slapped that out of her hand on purpose. Emotions run wild in sports, I realize, but this is the growing pains for young athletes is that you have to learn you can't do that on the court. You're always on TV, especially in a growing league. And I think Angel's going to learn very soon that these types of things don't look good on you, especially in certain situations. We can understand passion for the game and being upset about certain things, but when you lash out like that, it just makes you look like a child. It really does.
100%.
And honestly, it kind of ties into what we talked about yesterday with what her comments were post game the other day.
Yeah, refs.
The refs are this, the refs are that. And again, as I said yesterday, we all love to hate on the refs, but they're human too. They make mistakes, and sometimes they don't catch stuff. Sometimes, like if it's blatant, don't get me wrong. Like there's some really bad refs out there and umpires. I'm not going to sit here and say they aren't, but you can't say that for every single ref. You can't say that for every single game. Like that's a little ridiculous. There are games where you guys get the calls and they don't. There are games where you guys don't get the calls and they do. And you just have to live with that. But
and I already know what our boy Snacks would say. He said we have a special place for players like that, and I just don't think she needs to grow up.
absolutely. And again, growing pains. These are situations that she'll learn from. Caitlin still has a whole bunch of them too. She has plenty of emotional crash outs on the court. But I'm just saying that it's just something you're going to have to get over at some point. I get being frustrated with I don't even say with your game, with the game in general and what has being called and not called. But to lash out like that, and they're claiming break your coach's clipboard. I don't know about that, but it definitely looked like she was going back to the huddle frustrated. The coach walked up and said, "Hey, do you want the clipboard to show people?" And she said, get that out of my face, and knocked it right out of her hand. And oof, if I'm a coach, I'm not happy with that. I'd be sitting your butt on the bench for the next couple minutes.
We both coached in different sports, and I mean, I've had those players. I mean, obviously, it wasn't a professional coach,
right?
And you would expect more out of the players in a professional sport. But I've had, whether it was flag football or basketball that I was coaching, always had that one kid that wouldn't listen or just thought he was too cool to run the play or do his drill. And I just hope she grows up because I am a fan of her game.
No reason to believe she won't, to be honest with you.
I mean, how old are these? I mean, Kaylin and Angel, they've got to be in their
20s,
early 20s.
If I can get my dang computer to work, I swear. Yeah, she's 23. So again, plenty of time to mature and get that all out of your system. It's a bad look for her, obviously. But at this point, like I said the other day, all publicity is good publicity for the WNBA. It's much like what we saw yesterday with the All-Star draft, which can I just throw this out here? And maybe I am being a hater today.
Jeez.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But the topics that have been popping up today have just been certain situations for me. How does everybody feel about these all-star drafts? Let us know. Text in 661-842-2000 or let us know on YouTube as well.
Is this something that has been ongoing?
Well, in
or
the
is this-
NBA and WNBA, yeah, they've
Okay.
done this a couple years now, and the captains to both sides will just draft the players that they want as, they're are part of their team. Now, obviously, you have one captain from the East and one from the West, but can we not just go back to the traditional format of half the team is from the West, half the team is from the East, and the two sides play each other? Like, I don't understand why we have to do a draft. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But they ended up swapping coaches because they give you an opportunity at the end of it to like make trades or conversational pieces and just like, hey, do you want to trade so and so for so and so? We'll kick something back to you. And the NBA has done it a couple times now, but they ended up trading coaches because the coach that was going to be on Caitlin's team actually coaches the other girl's team and is like back and forth. So I'm like, this is why I'm saying like we should just down the line, West Coast, East Coast. I don't know why we have to do this. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I don't know. What are your thoughts, Spark?
I this is the first year I will say that I even knew they did a draft for the All-Star. I thought it would be the conferences or divisions.
Again, it's probably adopted from the NBA, who has been doing it at least for 3 years.
And I know I watched the Sports Center this morning listening to it, and I was like, okay, they're gonna pick their friends, they're gonna pick their buddies,
Right.
and of course they run with, okay, well, she didn't take, Angel, and I was like, well, that's part of it. They
But
want them to play each other.
yeah, definitely that right there. But two, it's like the teams turned into Caitlin's friends versus the people who want to beat up Caitlin. Like I'm not sure why we do this. That's why I'm like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it is what it is. This is just how the game is being played. I just feel like it also kind of takes away from the seriousness of it.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
Because if we're just going to do that, what's the point of the game in general?
Exactly. And just like most All-Star games, I look forward to more of the 3-point shooting contests
Right.
over than the actual game.
Absolutely. But like, I don't know. When you take away the East versus West, it like we were talking about yesterday with baseball, when it's not for something, you're not playing for something, it takes away the seriousness of the game and it makes them not really want to play it or even try. So I feel like it's kind of just, I don't know, it hurts the game more than it helps it to have a draft. That's just my personal opinion.
But if you're interested in playing some adult flag football, or even if you have kids, they have other leagues for the youngins. Tune in right here, because after this break, we're going to talk a little bit about Rise Up athletes and the upcoming adult flag football league.
And apparently we need to fill a team for ourselves. I was not expecting that whatsoever, Sparky. Throwing something at me I was not ready for.
Yeah, if you're in, let me know. 842-2000.
Do I have to come out of retirement? I got to pull my best friend out too now. Good Lord. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. And welcome back to the Early Bird Special Hour 2. And we got to talk a little football in this hour, starting with flag football, believe it or not, as we got the two leading men for the Rise Up Athletics flag football organization, Jordan and Grayson. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Appreciate your time. We have to have you guys actually get there. You go. Got to get close to the mics here, guys. That's how it works for radio. How are we doing this morning? How you feeling?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. I can't complain. So plenty of questions that come into this. First and foremost, how did you guys get this started? What actually brought this up that you guys wanted to start an entire flag football league that is going to span what now? 9 weeks is what we understand?
Yeah, 9 weeks. Well, first and foremost, we started with the kids, and we run youth sports programs as well. So as we are doing flag football, and it's our first season. And we had, between soccer and flag, we ended up with about 200 kids already in our first season.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was a really big jump. So just doing it, we had so many people reach out, be like, hey, are you guys going to do adults? I had everyone's parents, hey, are you guys going to do adults? You guys going to do adults? And I'm like, heck yeah, let's do adults. Like, we don't have one in town. Like, well, I mean, we had one a while back, but like, it wasn't really like what we wanted it to be. You know, so like we sat down, we're gonna do this, like it's gonna be really legit. Like we're gonna have cameras out there.
I saw AI cameras.
Yeah, we're gonna have AI cameras out there doing like automatic highlights, and we're gonna do stats, all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
Wow.
If you're gonna do it right, and that you guys look like you're doing something right.
Well, that's awesome. I have to agree, because I mean, I think everybody is just itching to get back on the field eventually, especially if you're an athlete. So, and with the Olympics coming around, and obviously flag football being brought into the Olympics thanks to some NFL players, is obviously has brought up a lot of potential for these things to happen. So, what is that something that kind of led you guys into this too?
Oh, 100%. That was a huge part of it. Yeah, I think it being in the Olympics, this sport's going to completely explode. Like it's going to be a real focal point of the Olympics, I think, when it comes out, because everybody's going to be into it. When these NFL players hit it, like Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, all these guys, it's going to be a really big deal, I think.
I have to agree. So what ages do you guys usually run with here for not only the adult league, but for kids as well?
So for kids right now, we've been running pretty much, we have 4-year-olds to 14-year-olds right now, pretty much TK through 8th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. And then for adults, we're really looking to get an 18 to 31 bracket, and then a 32 and older bracket.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I just turned 32, so I'm just out of the bracket. Dang it. But okay, cool.
Well, the thing is, if anybody wants to go play with the young boys, I'm with it. Like, it's totally
don't get me wrong. I'm not that athletic anymore. I've been well out of football for years. I coach now more than I play.
Yeah.
But so both of you coach football as well, from what I understand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we're both. Oh yeah, we're both coaching for Bakersfield Christian, and he's coaching one level. I'm coaching a different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you guys at right now? JV and Frostoff, or what level are we at?
Well, we're talking like the
Oh,
young
we're the
ones.
feeder leagues.
Yeah,
Okay,
nice.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah,
I
we do youth football. Yeah.
awesome. I used to coach for the Irish, so that makes a lot of sense.
Awesome.
So,
Okay. Cool.
but how'd you guys get into that?
I mean,
Just the love of the game, obviously.
love of the game. Yeah, I just love coaching. That's what I
Okay,
do.
and obviously, well, that makes a lot of sense that you guys do it for BCHS too. Reading your guys' core values when it comes to Rise Up Athletics. Talk about those 4.
That's what pulled me is, I told you guys off the air, probably 10, 12 years ago, I got a couple of the radio station guys and we put out there, and it was a circus, not the league. It was more of us as a team.
Yeah, well,
We talk a lot, and, fantasy football is way different than actually suiting it up and going out there. So
this isn't like a beer league or anything like
Yeah.
that. Don't come hammered. So, but like, what do you guys kind of preach at Rise Up? Your guys' like 4 core values that you sent us. I know that one of them is like you guys like to make sure that the inside the home situation is good and all that type of
the
stuff.
growth mindset.
Exactly.
Right. So we always preach football and family, but we like to make it family than football.
Mhm.
So like we just gave off the whole week for 4th of July, so people could spend time with their family. People are on summer break, and we wanted to give them extra time because we know that like developing kids as athletes is important, but we also wanted to develop kids as people.
Mhm.
And just I know a lot of these kids, sometimes their home lives are a little harder, so we try to like make a home on the field and make it more as a family than a team. And even though we're a sports league and we have soccer and we have football and this and that, we teach kids that honestly it's their kids and their future is more important than the game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And obviously now you can get dad and mom to come and practice too at the same time. So everybody's working out.
Yeah.
So that was my next question is you guys do football and soccer, or is there other sports?
Right now, we're doing flag football and soccer. We're obviously looking to explore other sports, and we have parents asking us to do other things.
Right
and
on.
We've had our hands in coaching on it. I think we both coached basketball.
Mhm.
I've coached volleyball. I mean, we're everywhere. So.
Once you catch the itch of coaching, man, it's hard to walk away from. It really is.
Yeah, watching a kid start off as never playing a sport before to becoming a leader on the team. I mean, it's just that. Like that drive that you can get out of them, you just feed off of it, and it's hard to really walk away from.
It really is. It really, really is. You were about to say something. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure.
Not sure anymore.
It's early.
He said it.
Well, so the season is what, 9 weeks?
Yeah, so it'll be 7 weeks
And
of
then
regular
playoffs?
season, and then we're gonna do playoffs after that.
Right on. And those are all on Sundays?
All on Sundays.
And
Okay,
where are these games going to be played? I know I asked you guys off the air, but where you guys usually play these at?
It's gonna be at Emerald Cove Park.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right off Patton and Hegman.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
And where can everybody go to actually sign up for this, sign their kids up for this, and get involved with you guys?
We're on Instagram at riseupathletes_Bakersfield, or you can get us at riseupathletics.com.
Okay, fantastic. And then obviously we guys got you in here. You're both football guys. I take it. What sport or what teams do you guys usually favor?
I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan.
Are you
nice.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little different. We got a couple Ravens fans in Bakersfield.
They have
I'm
a little
seeing.
group, man.
They
I don't know
really
how
do.
it started, but
Well, I'm a Falcons fan, so I'm
Okay,
outlier
that's
my
awesome.
dang self. But I mean, what brought you to the Baltimore Ravens? The Ray Lewis days? I'm taking it.
Defense.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. Is
Well-
that usually what you coach on football too? Is defensive side, or are you more of an offensive?
I started off on defense, but then I worked my way into running offense now.
Did you?
I mean, it's just more complicated. There's more to
Well,
it.
you know what's
Yeah.
funny? I had the same situation myself, and I found I was actually better at defense because I started on offense, but I figured I was better at defense because I could read offenses a
Yeah.
little bit better, so I could tell them where they should go and actually situate. So sometimes it's actually the opposite side that you actually want to go
you
with.
see the field the complete opposite on. Yeah.
Exactly, and you can teach these guys what to look for instead.
Yeah.
So what? I'm sorry. And then what fan were you of? I'm sorry. What team are you?
I'm a
of?
Bakersfield Raiders fan, man.
Are you a Bakersfield Raider fan?
It is.
There you go, JR. You got another
You are
Raider
not
fan in here.
alone. Okay, well, how do you feel about, because we've been on this topic for the last couple of weeks, Derek obviously retiring. Where do you kind of fit him in the all-time Raider quarterback list?
Man, all-time Raider quarterback list. Derek Carr, probably 4,
Really?
5. He
Okay.
might just edge his way in there. Yeah.
Okay. Because I think a lot of the fan base feels the same way. I always just bring up the fact that he's statistically the best quarterback
Yeah.
you've ever had. So it's like Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers. Like, how can you really argue that he's not at least in the top 3? You know what I mean?
Yeah, not getting a chance to play in the playoffs because of the injuries.
True.
And stuff like that really hurts. But I just know he took care of the ball, and that was a huge Raider problem. Our whole entire organization,
Mhm.
like even like Kenny Stabler, Rich Gannon, guys like that. I mean, they turn the ball over and stuff.
Absolutely.
But they're just gunslingers. Derek Carr was probably the most, like protective of not turning the ball over and stuff, and just being efficient all the time. He's a great quarterback.
Well, as a Raider fan, I mean, how do you feel this offseason going in with a new coaching scheme? You got your Geno jersey yet?
No, I'm not completely sold. I mean, I know he's our best option going forward, but
Yeah.
there's so many moving pieces on that team right now.
Oh, and Genty's going to be a stud.
Yeah.
he is.
And then you got, they kept Michael Mayer, so him and Bowers together for a full season, and Powers Johnson taking over that O line. Like it's looking
Looking
better.
Looking up.
I'm gonna
It's-
tell you
that
right
division,
now,
that division's tough.
there's a Dolphin fan in there that was really hoping Michael Mayer was headed towards
Yes.
Miami.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously same question to you with the Baltimore Ravens. How do you feel about the season going forward? You guys are stacked.
They
in my
compete every
personal
year.
opinion.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
telling
going
you.
to be every year, year in, year
I
out.
forget that they signed DeAndre Hopkins too at the same time.
I mean, we'll see what we get out of him. He didn't have his best game the last time we saw him.
You know,
Yeah.
that's absolutely fair. But I mean, if you get anything close to what he was in the beginning of his career, obviously this signing is going to be worth it, right?
I mean, what he's going to bring that the Ravens don't have right now with the wide receiver position is somebody you can just run a 10-yard curl with and throw him the ball and know he's going to consistently get it.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. It's like it's great to have the speed threats. Obviously, you have Bateman that can run a 9. That's not a problem. But when you have no big man that's a consistent threat to catch the ball, like a Mike Evans type guy,
Yeah.
it's really hard to be consistent in the pass game.
Yeah.
So
the only way they've even counteracted that was putting Likely in the slot and making that kind of happen. But
and
that's
even
not his
that
true position.
faded out
Yeah.
after like 3-4 weeks into the season too,
Yeah.
because once Edwards came back in, really was a non-factor for you guys, right?
I like Likely. I was expecting more out of him because he started out hot, but when Andrews got back, I was like, all right, well,
He was my
so
fantasy
much-
tight end for the first
I mean,
like
they got
6
so
weeks
much
of the
talent
season.
on that damn team.
Yeah, I mean, opportunity is everything.
Mhm.
You know, I thought when he got his opportunities, I thought he really played well. I thought he got the same amount of targets he was getting before. I really think he would have done the same thing.
That's absolutely fair. And then real quick
Yeah.
before we let you guys go, fantasy football fans at all? No.
Yeah, we play.
If you have
do you?
time.
Yeah, I'll probably
play,
be.
yeah.
I'll probably be in 3 or 4 leagues before
Yeah.
it
See, you're
starts.
at more than
Yeah.
I am. I'm about
Yeah.
2 or 3, my dang self.
I'm in 7. I cut
Jeez.
the line at 7.
I don't put that much money down for this type of stuff.
Well,
But
that's what pays Christmas. So I look forward to fantasy. But one last thing. So you guys, everyone that wants to be a part of it, go to Rise Up Athlete _ Bakersfield on Instagram or riseupathletics.com. And how many teams are you guys wanting to get before you cut it off?
So we're hoping to get 12. Right now, we're at about 9.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
In each of them? In the
Um,
adult or the 31 and under?
well, we're about half and half right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how many roster spots?
So it's obviously 5-on-5. So I keep telling everyone you want to at least have 7 guys because
Okay.
someone's going to miss, someone's going to get hurt. You know, it's just life and the way it is.
Right.
So I would say 7's the minimum on roster spots.
5 consistent people
Yes.
with 2 subs for
Yes.
sure.
Right,
So
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Anything else before we let you guys go?
We actually are starting a women's league as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, I already have about 26 committed women who want to do it. Like, so right now we're going to go out there. We're going to have a women's league. They're going to practice at Emerald Cove Park on Wednesdays as well.
Mm.
They're going to be out there. They're going to be working. They're super excited.
There's
They're
some
pumped. Yeah,
some talented.
very talented.
Absolutely.
People
I
out
coached
there.
a couple women on
Yeah.
this on the teams that I had with the Irish, and they were the toughs. I had to stop them from beating up on the boys. That's how bad it was.
Oh,
The
yeah.
same place to sign up online, right?
Yep, same place to sign up online. Yep.
Fantastic. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. We'll pump this up for you, and hopefully we can get you guys up to full max capacity and get this season started off on the right foot.
Heck
All
yeah.
right. Well, if you guys are ready to put together a team again, just let us
I'm
know.
trying. I'm trying
He's-
over here.
I'm telling you, he's trying to get a lot of our coworkers in on this too. So you might see a handful of us down there. He might have to pull me out of retirement. I got a
Well, my
quarterback.
last question is, what is it going to be during football season?
Yes, it will be during football season. So we're looking to start around 3:00 in the afternoon. So
Awesome.
you'll see your morning games.
Okay.
You'll probably see the first
So
half.
You're fighting with the NFL right now.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
Well,
Yeah.
no,
Fire, yeah.
I'll be done crying by 1:00 with my Dolphins, so I'll be
Yeah.
good to
Dolphins
go.
play early all the time. You'll be
Yes.
all right.
Yeah. So you should get through half of your.
Half the
To
season.
see-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's awesome. Well, we'll
Fantastic.
continue to pump it up. We appreciate you guys' time, brother.
Heck
All right,
yeah,
thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you guys. We
appreciate
appreciate it. We got to take a break real quick, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. ESPN Bakersfield. Gotta love this song.
I'm very serious about getting a team
Oh, I
together.
know you are. I can see it on your face.
I've been
Honestly,
dropping weight.
5
Might
to
as well.
7 guys, I might be in on that.
If we stuck, we're in this carbs. So
Playing football, I don't care if it
exactly.
sucks. Like, I'm
Something
not
will
going
bring
out
me
there
up.
to be the stud of the league. Calm down.
If I can get the 35 plus league.
Yeah, that's what I was laughing at. I was like, 31. Oh, mother. And then he said 32 and up. And I was like, okay, cool. We were good. I can live with a 32 and up league. I'll be the young gun in that league. I'm the young gun everywhere in this world.
Well, we had a text that I'll play on the EBS team if
Heck
you need
yeah,
a
we got
fat
another
boy.
one.
He said if you need a fat boy to play offensive line.
They said 5 guys. I'm sure one of them is a snapper.
Yeah.
We'll take a snapper. I'd gladly play wide out for somebody. I don't know. Or I got probably somebody to play quarterback for us too, if I can get him
If
to actually
not,
commit.
I could play quarterback.
I know. And again, I'm sure there's plenty of people that would love to just sit back there and throw a football too. But
I just want to know the rules because if I need to take off,
and I'm gonna have to go buy new
is
cleats.
it alligators or
Alligators.
yeah?
Oh,
Is
we
it
doing
just all
5
out blitz?
alligators?
I mean, I don't know.
Oh.
I didn't get into the
We're going to
rules.
you know what? That's true. We didn't really ask much about the rules of this. I assume that it's just traditional football, but I mean, that's my fault for assuming.
Well, one question says, here's my idea for the home run derby. Been
Gotcha.
thinking about this since you guys talked about it yesterday.
Okay.
How about you put $100,000 on the line for the champ? Let the fans get a list of, let's say, 3 major league players, and to do it for fans vote, one guy in, and the winner wins the $100,000.
Okay, so fans get a choice of one of the last player. Okay, I get that. That's not a bad one. Although you have to again
Get him to play it.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you made it, the 3 would be what, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and
They're like, nope,
and Kyle Schwarber, and they're all like, no,
nope, not
no,
this
I'm
time.
not doing it. Like that's my only issue. And the $100,000 isn't a bad deal too, but I think they already do that. I think all of these guys who are in the game get some sort of cash consideration for doing the competition in the first place. But I think if you win it, you get a certain amount of money as well. Although I would assume a lot of that cash consideration goes to charities and stuff like that too, because I know they like to do that. That is a good idea, though. I mean, throwing money at something obviously usually works.
That's what I
especially in
thought. Maybe
America.
going into like a nonprofit, one of their 100, 200 grand to their nonprofit.
I think they've done
usually
that
will
though,
get it.
because they've had years where depending on how many home runs they've hit, that goes to charity.
Oh yeah,
So like it like they do that. That's not
it's
necessarily
like some ballparks do with strikeouts,
right.
or-
Like there's got to be something different that we can do to pull people in. And honestly, again, I don't think the players' issue with doing it is
the money.
necessarily the money. I think it's the fact that 1, they want the break, and 2, I mean, the growing idea that if you do the home run derby, you're screwed the
for
rest of the
second
year.
half.
The rest of your game is going to be done. You're not going to be able to hit any home runs the rest of the year. And with guys like Cal Rayleigh, who's now up to 36, like obviously you would assume he's going to hit probably 60 this year. He'll probably end in the 50s, maybe 40s.
After being in the home run derby.
Exactly. So that's what people are kind of worried about. You know what I mean? And I love young guys being in this. I love guys like Cruz coming in and doing this because he's a stud. But it's Byron Buxton, same thing. Absolute stud for his team, name recognition, great person to have in the home run derby. So we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, with Cruz added yesterday.
But it still bugs me that we can't get these main home run hitters. Ergo, the big 3 that I just mentioned a couple minutes ago. Pete Alonso obviously has done it enough. We don't need, it's like asking Dwight Howard to keep doing the slam dunk contest. We get it.
It's the same thing with the dunk contest.
I mean, it really is. Especially those years when it was Nate Robinson and Dwight Howard. Nate Robinson and Dwight Howard. Nate Robinson, Dwight Howard, and Gerald Green. Gerald Green and Dwight Howard. I'm like, thanks, man. We know these guys can dunk. Like, but see, I don't know. That's the 2 sides of the coin, right? Like, we don't want to see the same guys in it every year, but at the same time, we do want to see the same guys in any year. Because what's the home run derby without Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, and Kyle Schwarber?
You just might as well make it the home run derby with people that can't hit home runs.
Right.
And just see who can actually hit it.
And I mean, well, honestly, I think the bigger talking point of the All-Star game has been the snubs. I think people still can't get over a handful of these guys that weren't chosen. Trey Turner, obviously being one of them. Mookie Betts.
The Mookie one. Or
the Cubs catcher as well. So, oh God, I can never remember his name, but he's absolute stud this year. And there are just a handful of guys that were left off the team. And again, I point this out. It's because of that dumb rule that everybody tried to throw in my face, saying, oh, it's part of baseball. Every team has to be included.
Why?
Look, man, no, they should not. We have a team with 20 wins right now and a team with 30 wins right now. Both of them sent a guy, and neither of them, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. The Rockies catcher is at least a stud. The pitcher from the White Sox, though, no, you do not. Not every team needs to be in the All-Star game. That's not how that works. If your team sucks, traditionally, you don't have an All-Star. If your team is awful, that does not
loser.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm trying to find a basketball team that I can compare this to, but I love the Washington Wizards. Let's go with the Washington Wizards, even though they have some young
the
talent
first
on
few
the team.
years of the Grizzlies. Yeah,
the first few years without Ja Morant. Who on that team was an all-star? Not a single one. So let's stop pretending like somebody from this team needs to be represented in the All-Star game. That's a ridiculous rule. That's so dumb.
This text will set up perfectly on what you wanted to talk about. This one says, where can I watch the quarterback show you guys been talking about?
Netflix. It's on Netflix. And okay. I still stand by what I said yesterday about Kirk Cousins. I've never been a fan of Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. I've never been a huge fan of Kirk Cousins in general, although he seems like a very, very, very likable individual, very likable human being. And he loves ball. And I love that about him, even though he's easily the whitest man you know. Easily the whitest man you know. And that's non-negotiable. However, I have to backtrack some things that I said yesterday, because in reading the ESPN article that was released yesterday morning before the show was released and before I was able to go into it, and honestly, a lot of people that I know that read the article had the same thought process. They made it seem like Kirk Cousins was complaining about being, quote unquote, misled by the Atlanta Falcons with this entire draft pick of Michael Penix after he just signed with the team for $180 million. I obviously came on the show and said, get over it, dude. They had no loyalty to you. You don't have to, you didn't have to sign the contract at the end of the day. Because the first line of this story was, and he does say this in the docuseries, that he could have stayed in Minnesota if he had known. I call shenanigans on that, because Minnesota offered you a deal before anybody did, and you shot it down
because of JJ.
Because they told you they couldn't commit to you long term, and you didn't want to deal with that, even though you're a 35-year-old quarterback on the way out. I'm sorry. There aren't any Tom Brady's anymore. None of you guys can play that long. You're not that guy.
Rodgers.
Yeah, Rodgers, definitely. But that's what I'm saying is, to read that and immediately think, well, that's a ridiculous claim to make on a docu-series. Then you go and watch episode 1, in which he says these things.
What was it in the first episode?
It's in the very first episode.
I started it when I got into bed, and I got about halfway through it.
It's in the very first episode. They address it. But again, this is why I say I hate this series, but I love this series. If you haven't watched quarterbacks or wide receiver,
I love the first season.
It's fantastic. It's a great series.
I liked the wide receiver one better too.
Honestly kind of did too, but I think it's because of the personalities.
Are they going to do that one again too?
I would assume.
And just so you know, these are recorded from last year, so you're going throughout the season from last year.
In 2024, 2025. So they follow this time. The first season was following Kirk Cousins, Patrick Mahomes, and Marcus Mariota. The year Marcus Mariota had the entire crash out and bailed on the Falcons.
Yeah, which was a tough watch.
This year, it's Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, and Kirk Cousins with the Falcons, which again is a wild story in itself.
Well,
I think that's why they did it. Because it's funny to me, because I'm watching this series at first, and I'm like, Joe Burrow and Jared Goff's stories are very similar with being not very parallel. You know what I mean? Like, they're both first overall picks with a lot of pressure on them, trying to win a championship and lead their teams to something that their organizations have never gone. Then you got Kirk Cousins' story, and everybody knows where Kirk Cousins' story is headed, but you just want to know where it or like what happened to bring it here. And I don't know. It's a wild comparison between the three stories. It really is, but it's a great series.
And with a lot of these, I mean, all the production is done well, and You know,
I think it's
Peyton
Peyton Manning's production group is the one who
Peyton does
actually
the
fronts it.
introduction, but just like if you're a sports fan and you watch these documentaries, these types of ones, you always, see the personal side of what you didn't know about, Burrow, when he was dealing with the wrist injury and how pissed he was, and how really athletic and competitive these guys are, and you get to see the personal side. So, if you're a fan of a team that plays them in their division and you're like, I hate Burrow, and then you watch this and you kind of start liking them and you're like, damn.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because I do wish that we would learn about a lot of these stories before we see these series, though, because I agree with you. Like, that's kind of what I love and hate about this series is that it makes me love Kirk Cousins. It has twice. I've gone into this series both seasons not caring for Kirk at all, and I'm leaving saying, God, why are you so likable? Like, now I don't want you to leave Atlanta. Like, I don't I don't want you to play for me, but I can't sit here and hate on you anymore because he's a likable guy and all he does is want to play football. That's all he's ever wanted to do. And it's like, you can't hate on that.
It was like Burrow when he screwed up his wrist. He took on piano.
Well, and that was actually a really cool story. But also the one with Burrow that I think that we really should have saw during the season was the crash out that he had during the major win against Tennessee when it looked like him and Thomas were like chewing each other out. And even Thomas came and said, Zach's like, no, it's not how it went at all. Like, it's more of like he was just frustrated with the way we were playing, even though we were winning.
All the penalties.
And you hear the audio and stuff like that. And yeah, it's exactly what Joe's mad about. He's not mad at the coaching staff or anything like that. And that's honestly what the storyline became during the season was, why is Joe so angry at the Bengals? Does Joe want to stay with the Bengals? No, he was just, really pissed because his offensive line and his team couldn't stop jumping off sides.
Yeah, mental mistakes.
So it's like, he's like, dude, we should have beat this team by 50. Like, that's essentially what he was angry about. So it's like, that's why I'm like, some of these stories I really wish, since we know you had the audio, it's like, why couldn't you have
wait a year?
Yeah, why are we waiting a year to hear about that? Like, come on, bro. Like, that's the cool thing about these series. I get it that you realize that what actually happened during these instances, but certain situations like that, it's like you could have came forward a year ago and told us, nah, he actually wasn't mad at the coaching staff at all. It was just a big misunderstanding. It's like I don't understand why we sit on stuff like that sometimes because you are messing with these guys' heads. And honestly, that's one of the major story or talking points of this season is Joe Burrow dealing with the whole, his life being public while trying to be private. And I respect the heck out of Joe for that. Like, honestly, I like Joe Burrow's entire mindset of what he would do with his life in this situation, like be very private with everything. I respect the heck out of it. I really do. Although the guy walks around trying to buy everything like Bruce Wayne. He does, dude. Like
the Batmobile.
Well, he explained why he actually canceled the Batmobile, so he's not getting the Batmobile anymore. But
that was a big story yesterday too.
He really does walk around because there's actually a bigger story that I feel like they glossed over was he went through an entire museum with like the people who run it, and he got the backstage like tour and everything, and he was asking to buy fossils. He wanted to buy a fossil, Sparky.
Like $300,000 or something.
This
like that.
boy is literally trying to be Bruce Wayne. Like he is walking around saying, "I'll buy the hotel." Like,
I'll take that. I'll take that.
But he seems like such a down to earth dude in this series. That's why it's like that's why I could not agree with you more. That these series really do make these guys super likable, and that's what bugs me because it's like I don't want to
I'm
like.
Just glad
Kirk
Josh Allen's
Cousins.
not in it because I do not want to like him.
Exactly. Like the minute you see an athlete that you're like, oh, I hate that guy. I do not want to watch anything about his life. And then you immediately turn around and say, God dang it, he's the starter on my fantasy football team this year.
So if you haven't got it, season 2 of Quarterbacks came out yesterday on Netflix.
I'm already halfway through.
Check it out. I'm going to finish episode 1 today on my lunch, but we'll get into some other NFL news right here on the Early Bird Special, ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM.
Before we get into that Chiefs and Bengals story, they did announce yesterday that Vegas got the 2028 Final Four, and I just wanted to throw that off because not only now that they've got some March Madness, but they've got the NFL team, the NHL team, the
Right.
baseball team coming, Super Bowl, WrestleMania. You know, do you think Vegas is the new
Capital
sports
of the
capital
world.
now?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a couple years ago, they were like, no.
Yeah. No, we've been saying this for a couple weeks now. It's especially after they ripped WrestleMania away from New Orleans again. I mean, or I say again, New Orleans in general. Vegas is just throwing money at every sporting event because they know that's how they're making their money. That's how they're making the bulk of their money right now. Shows don't do it anymore. Sports do. Like show acts, musical acts, stuff like that don't pull in people to Vegas anymore like it used to. So I think that they've really realized that how they're going to make the majority of their money going forward is really going to be these sports teams, these sports organizations, and the betting behind them. I really do. So yes, 110%, that is going to be the sports capital of the world here very, very soon, I think.
And I know yesterday Kansas extended the offer for the stadium to the Chiefs and Royals, or to push back until June 30th, 2026. But they did say they want to get some type of decision by the end of the year.
Right.
Do you actually see this playing out where the Chiefs and or the Royals leave Kansas?
No, at least definitely not the Chiefs. I mean, could you imagine if the Chiefs decided, we're out of here, we're not playing in Kansas City anymore? I mean, they would riot in Kansas City if the Chiefs ever left. No, I think that honestly, this is just the step forward to have them figure out the money situation of how you can actually build this new stadium if you want to build a new one. Because I mean, there are certain situations going on around the country right now in Cleveland that may scare some teams because class action lawsuits can be taken when you get this money in places that you shouldn't be getting the money at. So I think that's really where we are right now when it comes to this. I think they're just trying to give the team ample time to figure out where you're going to get the funds to build this city a new stadium, because that's essentially what they want. They want to keep the Kansas City Chiefs for sure in Kansas City, but I think they also want to keep the Royals there as well. Because, I mean, again, when you look at what the Royals are building right now, Jack Caglione coming up, Bobby Witt Jr., the all-star stud of the team. I mean, you got a lot to be at least excited about if you're a Kansas City Royals fan. I know there's not a whole ton of you out here in California, but some of you are.
Because I got my baseball team cut down to 3. And one of them is the Royals.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, well,
it's going to either be the Royals, I'm going to go back to the Giants, or the Mariners. Those are the 3.
Seattle. Okay, I could dig Seattle. I honestly, all 3 of those teams I could see you rooting for. So
I didn't want to pick the top team, and I didn't want to pick.
I'm surprised
the
Miami
bottom.
isn't on this list.
No, I can't do the Marlins.
No, not with that wacky the stadium they got out there in Miami.
My one trip to Florida, I saw the stadium hanging over the freeway, and I'm like, what? Who the hell built this? First of all, and second of all, fans out in Florida are so bad. They don't root on their own teams, and I just can't do it.
I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong.
I'm leaning towards the Mariners, but I'll have a decision by Monday.
Some point. Okay, by Monday. Okay. Set your clocks. We're going to figure out what team Sparky's going to be rooting for.
I'll have my hat.
And is this only a season deal, or are we? Okay, so only for a year.
Yep.
Okay. So we're not long-term dealing right now. He's not signing a contract for future endeavors.
Nope.
Dang it.
I got ripped by a listener yesterday saying, you took your kid and your wife out to a Dodger game and you're not a Dodger fan?
No.
I said those tickets were free.
Homie, first and foremost, Dodger Stadium is not reserved for just Dodger fans. I go to Dodger games all the time, even when Philly's not playing.
And why wouldn't you? It's Dodger Stadium.
Exactly. So I would hush on that, trying to gate guard people.
We got free tickets, and the tickets had all you can eat. I was like,
yeah,
I'll go to. He said, "Well, you'd go to the WNBA game if it was free."
Yes.
Yeah. Especially if it was all you can eat.
I'm sorry, and you wouldn't.
Like,
But
if you say no to that opportunity, then I'm sorry, sir. You are just not living your life correctly.
and
I
I know I'll
apologize.
get a lot of hate from Dodger fans because if I end up deciding it's the Giants, it's the Giants.
Look, man, at least it's a California team. People can't hate on you for that. I get hate all the time for every single one of my teams outside of
too.
one being out of California.
Mhm.
So I only root for USC. I'm sorry. That's my only California team that I will wear proudly every single time is my USC Trojans.
And I
Fight
know
on.
some news came out with the was it Cleveland?
Yes, the Browns. So the Browns are facing a class action lawsuit right now, as it looks like the former Ohio Attorney General Mark Dan and former state representative Jeffrey Kosman and some other people within the government are looking into how Cleveland is trying to get the money to build their new stadium. They're presenting a lawsuit to the team that argues that taking money from the state's unclaimed funds account to pay for that stadium that the Haslam Sports Group is planning for suburban Brook Park, because they do want to move this from downtown Cleveland to a different area for the first time ever in the team's entire franchise. It's south of Cleveland, violates the constitutional prohibition. Yeah, I'm sorry, the constitutional rights against taking people's private property for government use. So basically they're saying that they're taking the money from the public to pay for a stadium so they don't have to pay for it and get money off the public at the same time later when they, run up the prices on everybody and tell you, well, it's because we have to pay for the new stadium and everything that we just had to build. That's not okay.
No.
And honestly, it's just a situation that obviously we will have to get somebody of law, a degree in here. Maybe Kyle Jones got some time for us here the next couple weeks, and we can break down some of these stories a little bit better for you. But the Cleveland Browns, though, like, don't get me wrong, this isn't going to shake the NFL or anything like that. They're just facing a little bit of a lawsuit because, like the Kansas City Chiefs right now, who are trying to figure out where the money is going to come from, they may have pulled from the wrong funds.
Yep.
So we're going to figure out how that goes. And like I said, we'll get somebody,
Yeah,
maybe
I'll
a
reach out
lawyer
to
in
Kyle, and I also want to get one of the Money Wise guys to come in and talk about the changes that they're trying to make with sports betting.
Yes,
here
absolutely.
in the state of California.
They're coming after fantasy football too, and I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is at this point. We got to take a break real quick, though, pay some bills. On the other side, we'll wrap up the show with a little bit more football news. Plus, we have a famous boxer coming out of retirement that I forgot to mention. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield.
Welcome back. This is the early bird special final segment of the day. Big thank you to our guys at Rise Up Athletics for joining us. Go sign up for a team if you're feeling like playing a little bit of flag football. Their 9-week season start in, I'm sorry, they said September?
Yep.
And honestly, 7 people on a roster. You got 7 people that want to play football. Don't you lie.
With AI cameras.
Don't you
and-
lie. You
I
and
mean,
the homies would love to go play a game of pickup flag football right now. And it's $150 a person, and the 7th guy is free.
And dude, these guys are doing it the real
They're
deal.
going all out. They just sent us a whole bunch of different stuff that
Jerseys and personalized
it's all
flags.
customized and
It
stuff,
looks
and they're
crazy.
helping you do that. You don't even have to handle all that. You tell them what you want, you pay for it, and they get it done. And I think that's awesome. I think this is a really cool thing that we could get started. And honestly, you're turning me around on it, Sparky. I may have to come out of retirement and play wide receiver for one last time. Be the Julian Edelman that I used to be.
Oh boy.
Sure-handed receiver, baby. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all you need, Spark. That's all you need. But we got a couple more stories to get to before we get out of here, including an unfortunate passing. Ex-Cowboys tight end and civil rights activist Pettis Norman died I believe, over the weekend at 86. The man played in the league for, I believe, 10 years, most of it with the Cowboys. I mean, again, it's not a name that you're probably going to remember off the top of your head, but if you watched him play in the 70s, I'm sure you know who this guy was. He was a very avid activist for civil rights as well, and honestly was just an overall great human being. And unfortunately, he has passed, and we at the age of 86. But I think that's a good run.
On the good side, Tim Tebow had a baby over the weekend too.
Did he really? We have a Jesus baby.
We have a
Oh
Tebow.
my Lord!
He had a little Tebow running around.
Future Floridans. I'm telling you. Is it a boy, girl? Do we know?
I believe it's a boy.
So we do have a future quarterback or fullback. I don't know, whichever one that they decide to throw him at this point.
Tight end.
How, dude? I mean, we brought that up a little loosely a couple weeks ago, and honestly, never really got to go down that pipeline. But do you put him as the greatest college football quarterback of all time, especially with now college football 26 coming out? For those of you who are video game fans, I put him up in the conversation.
He's definitely up.
He's definitely in the conversation, especially for the longevity of just dominance that Florida had while he was there. I mean, again, couldn't throw a football to save his life, but
he made it work.
Yeah, he did, and he made it work with guys like Aaron Hernandez. I mean, when he was able to keep Aaron Hernandez in check, that's a good person. That's a Jesus guy right there. But what do you guys think? 661-842-2000. Was Tim Tebow the best NCAA quarterback of all time? I know Cam Newton could probably be in that, even though he was only really at Auburn for a year. There's a handful of guys that you could really throw out there in terms of dominance. I think Trevor Lawrence obviously has to get a nod at some point, personally. I mean, there's a handful of USC quarterbacks that could probably go on that list, even though they can't do a lick-a-dang thing in the NFL, but it is what it is. Text in right now, 661-842-2000 before we get out of here. Do we have any left before we get done?
We have one. It's a little off topic, but it says, looks like the Evolution PLE will be empty.
Look, man, that's what I was worried about. It's like I've seen the internet talk about this. You look at kind of the structure of it, but here's the thing. It's kind of the weird thing about wrestling fans. We are notoriously last second. Notoriously. So right now, it could look pretty bare. But day of or the day before, it could pack out. It really could, because that's just how tickets work for wrestling. I don't know exactly why, but the cheapest you'll get them is right when they announce the entire thing and they launch the tickets, and you can actually go buy them with your little, gift codes or whatever. And then the day of the event.
Yeah, tickets are $60.
Yeah.
And they actually have a 2-day pass if you wanted to do the Saturday night main event and the Sunday for $252.
Oh, because they both are in Atlanta. I forget about that. I mean, again, it's not necessarily
That's not
surprising
bad.
to me. No, it's not.
$250.
And it's a experimental PLE, really, if you really want to go down that route. It's not one they do all the time.
And that match card looks dope.
It does,
for
and
the
it
Evolution one.
continues to grow. Like they just threw a couple NXT ones on there too, and I'm like, heck yeah, let's get all the girls in on this. This is going to be it's going to be a great weekend of wrestling.
I mean,
don't
I'd
care
go
what people
for
say.
Battle Royale. That's what I'm
Honestly.
looking forward to.
Well, and we got a preview of it last night because shoot, half the roster showed up to NXT and just started beating each other up and throwing each other out of the ring. So it's going to be a very entertaining pay-per-view. I genuinely believe that. I just think right now, because it's so experimental and because unfortunately, much like America can't get behind a foreign basketball player being the face of the league, we're just super last second on everything. We really, really are. We're a last second society. We will figure it out. If we want to go and it sounds like a fun idea on a Sunday, they're going to buy the tickets and go.
Yep.
They really are. So I do not expect that to look bad at all. I think they're going to get a considerable amount of people to show up to that PLE this weekend.
And I saw CJ Mosley. We talked about him a couple weeks ago when he just abruptly retired from the NFL. Well, he has launched his own Legacy Trust Sports Group.
Did he really?
Which will be a full sports agency aimed to guiding athletes on and off the field. So he had some plans.
Honestly, I like that idea because I've said that about the NFL for the last couple of years, is that I feel like they, or at least I should say they don't do a good job at it. I think that just sports in general needs to do a better job at taking these younger athletes and teaching them how to be professional athletes, because we got a lot of guys that, especially now with the NIL money becoming what it is, you're dealing with a lot more professional contracts way earlier than you would expect. And obviously these guys are essentially being thrusted into adulthood without being ready for it. And that's where you get a lot of these athletes blowing their money in the first couple of years because they really don't realize how volatile it is or how quickly it goes away, because you're only going to be getting it for what, a fourth of your life, really, unless you're in the NFL and you get a pension at the end of it all. But it's just, it's one of those situations where I feel like veteran athletes need to step up and teach these young guys, hey, instead of going out and buying that Bugatti and that house for your mom and for your girlfriend, well, I mean, Joe can use whatever the heck he wants. That boy's getting paid up the hooska and will continue to do so until the end of his career. But they just need some direction. Like, these guys just need to be taught a little bit. Hey, maybe you should hold off on buying that Bugatti right now and maybe put that into a trust fund and, build some funds down the line in your life when you're going to need it with all these medical bills that are going to be headed your way. Ex-quarterback, but it is what it is. This quarterback series, if you haven't been watching it, if you don't like Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, or Jared Goff, be prepared to be swayed, because these three gentlemen are incredibly likable human beings. And I'm just growing up wanting to be Joe Burrow. That's all it is. But this has been the Early Bird Special. Join us back here tomorrow, 7 to 9 a.m. as always. We got our guys from The Well coming in for a little bit as we talk about their upcoming shows. But until then, we got to get out of the way for the great Rich Eisen. Sparky, let's get out of here.